All right, guys, we got a very special guest here with us today. We have ESPN Chalk Daily Wager, the deputy editor in sports betting at ESPN. We have David Behrman. How we doing, man?
Hey, happy to be here. Happy to join you. It's one of those busy weeks with Super Bowl upon us. And obviously the NFL decided yesterday it was going to, drop a couple. Well, it wasn't the NFL. They got dropped on, but a lot of news breaking yesterday and, trying to cover everything from Brady to Flores to the Super Bowl. And, by the way, there's a game in 10 days. So,
there is. Yeah. So, have you heard Brady retired?
Brady did retire a couple of times, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday.
Right.
All I can say is Adam Schefter was right. Adam Schefter is always right. Brady can mad respect. The guy's the GOAT, no question about it. And I say that full well knowing who I root for. The decision, Adam's right. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, good deal. Well, I know we had, and we're recording this on Wednesday. Flores was just on ESPN. You just watched it. You want to give a brief thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously I'm not a lawyer. I don't have all the records. I don't have all the text messages. I can only speak to what I've heard, and it's hard to not have mad respect for what he's trying to do, which is make change in the NFL. And we think about all the social injustice stuff that we've done over the last couple of years here in America. And Brian Flores is trying to change the NFL for the better. Like the numbers are the numbers. You can't get around it. There's currently one African-American head coach in the entire National Football League when over 70% of the players are black players. So the numbers speak for themselves. And if those interviews that Brian Flores alluded to in New York and or in Denver were shams, then something needs to get done. The Rooney Rule is only as effective as the owners make it. And according to Flores and others, it seems like they're making a joke of it. And that's not to mention all the other allegations that got brought up. And, at the end of the day, Brian Flores is putting his career on the line. He may never coach another day in the National Football League. And that was what he was, born and bred to do, is be a good coach. And having watched him for the last 3 years, I was more than stunned when he was fired by Stephen Ross a few weeks ago. It didn't really make any sense at the time. Obviously, there's a lot more coming out now that might make more sense as to why they went their separate ways. But I mean, the guy took a terrible team and got him 5 wins in the first year when allegedly they were being offered money to tank, and then had back-to-back winning seasons, getting the most out of his players on a roster that wasn't that talented. So as a Dolphins fan, I was surprised and sad to see him fired. And if all the allegations that he's thrown out there are true, it's an embarrassment for the organization, and proved all along that Brian Flores may have been the right man for the job. So we'll see what happens with it. It's a sad situation that someone has to basically throw away their career to make change in the NFL. But, if that's what it takes, you go all the way back to Colin Kaepernick taking a knee and then being ostracized out of the league. And then you fast forward 3 or 4 years, and now it's okay to take a knee, and it's okay to wear things on your helmet and protest social injustice, when years earlier they made Colin Kaepernick pay for doing that. So hopefully Brian Flores is, gets what he needs out of this and makes some change in the NFL. But it's sad that it's come to this point. But it's hard not to watch that interview on CNN and watch the interview on ESPN just moments ago and not feel like, the guy's trying to do the right thing here.
Right. Well, we use that to transition into the new coach of the Dolphins. One is off the board, the way it looks. And we got 2 others that are probably the lead candidates. You want to get into it a little bit?
I mean, what are you doing in August? You might be the next candidate at this rate. I mean,
they're looking for a young coach, right? So
it depends on what you believe. It's the one team out there right now that is keeping everything close to the vest. When you hear the reports day in and day out of every other team and who they're going after and what they're doing, you don't hear that out of Miami. And so you really don't know what's going on. Obviously, the owner has ties to Harbaugh, supposedly off the board. I honestly, Nick, I don't know which direction they're going right now, and I'm not sure anybody wants the job. You have what may amount to a lame duck owner. If all the allegations are true, I don't see Stephen Ross keeping the team. At the very, very least, even if the allegations aren't true, you do have a situation where the owner didn't get along with the head coach. That's true, and has gone through a lot of front office and head coaches over the last 15 years, power struggles, etc. And maybe even the GM could be a lame duck GM. So it's not necessarily the greatest job in the world right now, especially after yesterday. But if you're talking about candidates, obviously Mike McDaniels out of San Francisco is a young offense coordinator who has an innovative offense that the Dolphins have some pieces that could fit into that. Your Deebo Samuel could be your Jalen Waddle. The Dolphins have gotten absolutely nothing out of their running game when McDaniels seems to be a czar of getting the most out of running games. To be honest, didn't know much about him until this year. I know Vance Joseph has been in the mix. Vance Joseph was the defensive coordinator in Miami before, so he's been there. Didn't have a really good stint his first time as head coach in Denver. And Jim Harbaugh hasn't inked anything yet, so who knows? And honestly, I really don't know who else is out there because they're keeping everything close to the vest. At the end of the day, my preference as a fan would be somebody who's done it before. We've gone through the hot assistant route time and time again, whether it was Joe Philbin, whether it was Adam Gase, or whether it was Brian Flores. We've done the hot assistant. It hasn't worked. Although I would argue Brian Flores did work, but that's for another day. I would like them to go back to their roots. Like Don Shula was a guy who had gone to a Super Bowl before. Jimmy Johnson was a guy who had won multiple Super Bowls before. Dave Wannstedt had coached in the NFL before. All three of those guys had coaching experience. All three had success in Miami, taking the Dolphins, rebuilding them into a playoff team or Super Bowl team. The assistant route hasn't worked. So I don't know why Doug Peterson isn't getting any looks or mentions at all. I'm sure there's some reason. Here's a guy who won a Super Bowl.
Right.
I would have, if you're going to go the hot assistant route, I would have done more to get Brian Dabble. That's kind of the candidate that I wanted. If you were going to go the hot assistant route, the guy has the pedigree of having worked under Belichick, under Saban. He's done everything under the best head coaches in the world.
Right.
That being said, I honestly don't know. It's weird. You're at
wait and see.
It is wait and see. And they have not been very successful in the last 20 years at trying to figure this out. So my confidence level in them figuring out this time is not high either.
Well, we're in the same boat together there, David, because I am a Redskins fan, then football team fan, now Commanders fan, right? So, and they're in the same boat. 20 years, nothing to show for, and head coaches, too many head coaches, too many quarterbacks that didn't amount to anything. So, but anyway, we won't touch more on that unless you want
while
to.
I have you, since it's only about technically 90 minutes old, your thoughts on the Commanders?
I don't like it. Maybe it'll grow, but first thoughts, and I heard it yesterday. I guess it got leaked yesterday. And
what did you want? If you were voting, what would you want?
Well, I guess the one I really liked was Red Wolves, but I guess there was a trademark against that. That was neat. Red Tails would have been cool. I thought they should have kept it red something.
Yep, I agree.
But
I would have liked to. I would have liked them to. I know Commanders is sort of related, but I would have liked them to incorporate more of where you're at. Whether it's, I know Senators was the baseball team, or Presidents, or something related. I mean, when you think Washington D.C., you think politics. You think Washington. Who knows? Yeah,
who knows?
But at least your problem is in the nickname. Our problem is we don't have a head coach, and we have an owner who is trying to run the team into the ground.
We still need a quarterback, so we can't have Heineke quarterback probably also next year.
I thought you guys were going to be in decent shape getting Fitzmagic over there, but obviously
I did too. But that ended pretty quickly.
It did.
So hey, we'll move into the game that's happening in 10 days? You said
11 days. Yeah. I was off by a day. 11 days.
It seems like
days? Seems like it's about 11 months away at this rate. So
how about it? So the game opened up -3.5 to the Rams. It's now up to 4.5. Looks like money. 69% of the money is on the Rams. Total opened up at 49.5, is down to 48.5, and 59% of the money is on the under. The I bring this up. The money line for the Bengals is +170 right now. It's getting 69% of the money. And the reason I bring that up is because the last Well, overall in the Super Bowl history, the straight up winner is 46-6-3 ATS. So the number has not mattered much at all in the Super Bowl. If you like the Bengals, just take them on the money line. You're getting the best value there.
And that trend is not just in the Super Bowl. If you were to go back and look at the playoff games this year, the playoff games the last 5 years, over 90% of the teams that have covered have won outright. And the only one in this current playoffs was the Rams last week.
Yeah.
The Rams won but did not cover, which would bring me up to my pick. Right now, I've already taken the Bengals at 4.5, and I hope the number keeps climbing. We'll take it again. And not only, do the numbers that you just said support that, but if you look at each team individually, in terms of trends, the Bengals have been a dog of 3 points or more 8 times. This would be the 8th time. In the previous 7 times, they're 7-0 against the spread and 6-1 straight up, covering a 3-point line or more. So this is a team that consistently is covering as an underdog. They haven't actually been very successful as a favorite, as you see them losing to the Jets, which was the last time a Super Bowl champ lost to the Jets. This doesn't happen. So they are a team that fits the underdog role pretty well. Like, they put that cape on. You have the epic Joe Burrow chip on the shoulder that he's carried for a dozen years now through colleges and through the NFL. He has that chip. The team as a whole seems to be carrying the city, the franchise chip on their shoulder, a team that's been the Bungles for the last 30 years. Yeah. And on the flip side, you have the all-pro, all-American, every talented player in the NFL Rams. Yet,
the all-star team.
The all-star team of pieces. You went and got a really good quarterback out of Detroit and brought him your way. You went and got a really good wide receiver out of Cleveland and brought him your way. You got Von Miller from Denver. So you put all the pieces together, and it worked. But how well did it work? They look at the end of the year. They barely beat Minnesota. They barely beat a Lamar Jackson-less Baltimore Ravens. They had a rally to beat Seattle. They blew a huge lead against San Francisco. That's how they finished the season. Granted, they won all of them except San Francisco. I actually was completely against this Rams team because the way they've been playing, and I don't think the NFL is built around putting pieces together like they have. Then they went out and crushed Arizona on that Monday night wild card game that really opened my eyes to maybe the pieces are coming together. Followed it up by going to Tampa and pretty much destroying the Super Bowl champs before Brady did his thing in the end.
Right.
And you're like, all right, this team has what it takes. I went and put money on them to win the Super Bowl at that point. But what they did against the 49ers did not impress me. Again, they let the 49ers control that game. They rallied in the fourth quarter. They won. At the end of the day, I could see the exact same thing happening. Cincinnati controlled the game, the Rams coming back using their talent to win. But that's not been the formula for either team, because the Rams haven't done that all year until the playoff game last week, and the Bengals have done the opposite. They allowed the Chiefs twice to run them out of the building and then come back in the fourth quarter and win. So at the end of the day, I think that the Bengals are better positioned to win this game and complete the Cinderella story, but it would not surprise me if, the All-American All-Star team wins this game. I've taken the 4.5 because that's what the trends and the numbers basically have alluded to. But if you told me, hey, by the way, the Rams are going to win 31-10, I'd be like, they're more talented. Right. They are the better team.
They should win.
They should win. I also think Sean McVay, as innovative as he is, likes to run himself out of the game. Some of the challenges he's had last week and the timeouts he called were embarrassing. Right. And at the end of the day, you're not going to win a Super Bowl making multiple mistakes on your head coach if you have a Bengals team who's just hungry to win. Because at the end of the day, call it what it is. The 49ers are not a good football team. Jimmy G is not a good quarterback. Kyle Shanahan is not a good coach in big games. They have a strong defense and a running game, which is what keeps them in games. But when push comes to shove in the fourth quarter, Niners go 3 and out, throw a pick, Rams go down the field and win the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And you can't count those Bengals out. You're exactly right. It sort of favors the Rams in the first half and the Bengals in the second half, right? If it stays how it is. The Super Bowl favorites are 34-20 straight up, 25, 26-3 ATS. So And then the unders have been excellent the last 12 Super Bowls too. They've been 9-3.
Yeah, a lot of that is related to it's a big game, it's a big stage. You got a 2-week build up. There's nerves early. I tend to play first quarter unders a lot because I don't think the teams are kind of mentally ready to play this game. It's the big stage. It's the game. It's the game. So I play a lot of early overs, which I'll probably continue to do. And I do like, early unders.
Mm-hmm.
And then I do like second half overs because at that point you have no choice. You got to go. Your season's on the line. So
yeah, you're more relaxed. Yeah. Well, that brings us into the props. So one game, standalone game. Everybody's going to be playing the props, and that's where the value is in a game like this because the line's so tight on the total and the spread. One recommendation from me, from multiple people, sharp people, take the nose and the unders. The public comes in on the yeses and the overs, and you're not going to get a good price on those.
And that's a pretty standard philosophy across all betting, to be honest. More so in the Super Bowl because there's so many more options. That is a good way to go for sure. Because if you're just Joe Public coming in and betting a Super Bowl is the only game you've bet all year, you're not going to bet an under. You're not going to bet a no. And you will find value in those. But the books also know that, so they price accordingly. So you will see these numbers be lower than normal, knowing that the public's going to keep pounding overs and that the sharps are going to pound the unders.
Yeah. So if you want to play an over, play it early.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to play an under, just wait.
Yep.
Maybe till game day.
Yep.
Good deal. Do you want to add anything to that? We can get into our next topic here, which I'm sitting on the course right now, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, it looks like you have a nice front row seat right there.
Nice day. Yeah.
I got one right here.
There we go.
There's a 7th hole of Pebble.
I think I'm on the 18th. I think I'm on
now.
The 18th.
Now that we're transitioning to golf, maybe I'll just move my chair right here.
There we go. You get the proper background. Here we go.
That's where I do my golf pods. So
when
I do golf only, it's over there. This was set up for the Dolphins pods because of all the crap we've been talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I'll get it right into it. The AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am. This did not happen last year, correct?
The event did, but the Pro-Am did not. They played it. They played it, but they played it on without the amateurs, and they played it on the Pebble course. And I believe Spyglass was one of Spyglass or Monterey. One of them was played, and the other was not. Very similar to the American Express 2 weeks ago that played on 3 courses, but did not play 3 courses last year due to the pandemic.
Okay. So, we got Pebble Beach Golf Course, Links, Spyglass Hill Golf Course, and Monterey Peninsula Country Club.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the 3. It's a 3-course rotation. From my research now, I am not a big golf guy. I'd like to get more into it, but these are the notes that I came up with. Historically, it's a specialist course, right? Every winner since 2006 has a top 21 finish in a previous appearance. Mm-hmm. The winner's score should get close to 20 under, making birdies a must, right? It's a mediocre field, is it not, David?
It is. It last year, even with the pandemic and the amateurs not there, it was ranked as the 2nd worst field of the year.
Yeah.
I do not expect the ranking to be any higher this year. I have mixed emotions here, Nick, because first of all, I love the course. The course is fantastic. I've been there. I went for the U.S. Open in 2010, working it. Graham McDowell came from behind and beat Tiger and Phil. It's one of the prettiest and most gorgeous courses in America. If you're a golf fan, you love everything to do with Pebble. When the U.S. Open is there's nothing better. But on the flip side, I hate the Pro-Ams as a golf fan. Like, I love the celebrities and the fact that they're there, but it forces you to use 3 courses, so it's not just Pebble Beach, because there's so many amateurs and it takes so long that they have no choice but to split it up. Obviously, the days are not long; it's February, so you have to split it up into 3 courses, and that takes the fun out of it because there's a reason Tiger Woods never played in this event. He doesn't want to sit there and try to you know how Tiger is. Tiger wants to win the event, and he's got, he's got Tony Romo playing next to him. No offense to Tony Romo, or Bill Murray playing. Like, that slows it down, because while you're hitting your drive 320 yards in the middle of the fairway, Bill Murray's in the trees. He's a hacker just like me and you. Right. So it takes away from it. When I'm a big golf guy, I'm a big golf handicapper. This makes it exponentially harder because there's no shot link data on the other two courses. The only thing you have is scores. And if you're just relying on scores, you're way far behind. So it's very tough to handicap this event when you're looking at, and same thing 2 weeks ago at the American Express. You have 3 different courses, which makes it difficult. To me, the way to approach this event is live betting. You let the stuff take care of itself. They're rotating courses, one day hard course, one day easy course, whatever. And then Sunday you get everybody and you're like, all right, who has played Pebble well? Who is in position to do well? And then you go ahead and start live betting on Sunday. That doesn't mean I won't take some bets here or there. I always do. But it's really hard to judge when these guys are playing 3 different courses that play all differently. The wind can blow off the coast on 2 of the courses and the other one's inland. So it's not the easiest course to cap, but that's also why you mentioned top 20 before. People who have played in this event, and I don't just say course, I say event, because it is an event. You got celebrities, you got amateurs, you got hackers out there. People who have done well in that environment before tend to come back and do well. This is a course that Dustin Johnson's dominated, but he ain't playing. It's a course that Jason Day has dominated. He is playing. Patrick Cantlay, reigning player of the year and FedEx Cup champ, has played well here and won. Daniel Berger won here last year. So I would tend to go with guys who have played well here before. I just gave you a couple of names. But again, you don't know what the mindset is. You don't know which amateurs they're being paired with, which celebrities they're being paired with. You don't know if the round's going to last 4.5 hours or 6.5 hours. You know the feeling. You get out there and your 4.5 hour round takes 5.5 because you got a group of 65-year-olds in front of you that are walking and taking forever to noise the hell out of you. That's what's happening here at Pebble. Yeah. So we have a column out this morning that Anita Marks and Krista Bear-Felica are in. I'm in that column every week. I help produce it. Okay. I took a pass this week. One, it's Super Bowl, and I got a lot of crap going on. But also, it's if I'm going to take a break all year of the 38 consecutive weeks I handicap golf, this is going to be the one I take the break on. Yeah. But I will have some plays. I'm likely going to be on Maverick McNeely and or Jason Day in my one and done. Both guys are specialists when it comes to this course. If I were going to break it down from a handicapping point of view, I would tell you that all 3 are short courses. Driving distance is irrelevant at this point because they're all short courses. Your object here, having played there, not as successful as these guys, is you want to get it in position to score on your second shot because the greens are the smallest on tour. And if you are in a position, out of position off the tee, it's going to be very hard to hit a small green from a bunker or woods. So the object is to hit the fairway, which is obvious, but more so here than anywhere else. Yeah. Like Augusta National, you can spray it and get away with it. Here, you need to get it in the fairway close enough to get an iron shot in to hit those extremely small greens. So good iron players, good accuracy off the tee, and good short game because these greens are hard to hit. So if you just miss, you got to be able to chip and putt. So kind of the tee to green mentality of accuracy off the tee, good irons to small greens, and good with the short game wedges and chips is what wins it at Pebble. Patrick Cantlay's great at that. Jason Day is great at that. Those are the guys that I'll be looking at. Those are 2 of the top 10 favorites, so it's Captain Obvious. But it's not really an event that a 200 to 1. Now, I say that and it's going to happen. Yeah. But like last week, a 200 to 1 shot and Luke List won. This is not really an event where that happens. There's a reason Dustin Johnson's won it 3 times. Mickelson's won it 100 times. Guys who know the course, guys who can play in this environment usually do well.
Good stuff, David. Well, I appreciate you for coming on here, giving all the insight for these topics. And tell a little bit about, I know I have it on the ticker here if you're watching on video. Sure. This is also going to be on the Executing the Edge podcast on Friday. But tell us a little bit about where they can find you, some work that's coming up. Obviously, you're going to have a lot on the the big game coming up?
Yeah, it's at D Behrman ESPN. You see it right there at the bottom. That's my Twitter handle. We send out all of our ESPN sports betting information on there. If you go to ESPN.com Chalk, that's where all of our gambling content will live. We also have a little module on the front of ESPN.com. If you scroll down on the right-hand side, you'll see all things relegated to the Super Bowl are right there. We're going to have at least one, if not two columns every single day through the 2 weeks leading up to the Super Bowl. Today, our Super Bowl nuggets are out there. So if you want all the nuggets that Nick and I hit on a couple of them, if you want them all, they're all right now on our ESPN Chalk page, as well as notable big bets. David Purdom, our big industry writer, started the blog today of here is the notable bets on the Super Bowl, bets that you and I aren't making because we don't have six figures to do so, but those are all listed there. And we'll have stuff all along the way hitting. Matthew Berry's going to have a column. Mike Clay will have a column. Best bets from everybody will be in there, including myself. So at D Behrman ESPN and ESPN Chalk is where you'll find all the information, and make sure to watch Daily Wager daily at 6:00 as well. The guys will be on there to talk everything Super Bowl related. And, maybe next time we chat, the Dolphins have a head coach. So
yeah, awesome. You would hope so, right?
Would hope so.
So guys, go check out the website, check out all the picks, check out Daily Wager. Always a good show. And thanks again, David, for joining me today. This was awesome. We'll do this again if it fits your schedule.
Absolutely. Enjoy, guys.
Thanks, David.